Hello, and welcome to this webcast, Couchbase Development Made Easy, with a new plugin for JetBrains. And today we welcome Dennis Rosa. Dennis is a developer advocate for Couchbase, and he's been very prolific in our developer community. Dennis and his team have been working very hard recently to build functionality and tools that enhance the developer experience on Couchbase and Couchbase Capella. So, hey, Dennis, great to have you on one of our global webcasts today. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
And today we also have a special guest, Max Soblevsky. He is the DataGrip lead from our Couchbase partner, JetBrains. Max and Dennis are going to demo some of the functionality of JetBrains and the new plugin from Couchbase for JetBrains. So, Max, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you being here. I'm going to kick it off to Dennis now to show you more about how this partnership works. Dennis?
Good. Let me just share my screen here. One of the cool things today is that we have 0 slides. So everything that you're going to see today is pretty much it. You're going to see demo from start to finish, right? But let me step back first and talk about why we are here today. Essentially, Couchbase is distributed database, right? It is the focus of Couchbase has always been in mission critical use cases where you need to scale, and you need to scale and be fast at the same time, right? And a distributed database is not that obvious often compared to a relational database, right? So we have been spending a lot of time lately on how can we make Couchbase user friendly, right? Especially for developers. And initially, we thought about integrating Couchbase with a bunch of popular database clients. But once we saw the experience that DataGrip has, we understood that that's kind of what we want, right? Because most of the I am sure that most of you use some sort of database client, but what we notice is, those database clients, they are good, but a lot of them are to some extent focused on database administrators. And when you have this integrate like the database client integrated on your IDE, you often would focus more on developers, on daily tasks that you need to run in the database. And that's where the value, I think, it is on, not saying that you cannot do administrative tasks, of course, on those on the other two, on Couchbase or DataGrip, but it is interesting how the focus of this focus on being developer first can improve a lot the productivity on the daily tasks that developers used to do, right? While usually during development, I would say. So what I'd like to do today is to demo some of the capabilities of the plugin that we have implemented. And then I will hand it over to Max, and Max can, show all the other the features that the DataGrip offers. Here I'm talking about the Couchbase plugin, and then Max will show like all the potential of DataGrip and all these other cool features that they have over there. Good. I guess to install the plugin, it's a pretty obvious one. All you have to do is go to plugins here and search for Couchbase. You find the plugin there and hit install. This is what I have here. So everything that I'm showing today is already available in the current plugin that is published in the store. And we are working on some new features, so we should have another release later next week. And once you have installed the plugin, you see 2 new tabs. One is here in the corner, written Couchbase, and another here is in the bottom, which is the Couchbase output. Good. even though you just install the plugin, there is already some magic happening under the hood, because we go ahead and download all the Couchbase common CLI tools. So we install them on your machine, and then you can use them directly from the plugin. So you don't need to go to the documentation and remember, okay, how do I run this CLI tool? No, we have a good, we have some UI for you to just run through the plugin. When you first connect to the plugin, you can hit this button here to create a new connection, right? And then, of course, I can give a name to my connection here, my local, and then let's say local host, and then password administrator, username administrator, and password. Good. Okay, but let's say I have a typo here, right? If I try to connect, it will naturally show an error saying, hey, yeah, I cannot connect to that cluster. And one of the good things of this plugin is that we have a tool called SDK Doctor, and SDK Doctor helps you to troubleshoot some of your connectivity issues, right? Like, let's say you forgot to open a port for Couchbase, or there's some other thing awkward going on, like you can connect to Web Console, but the SDK cannot connect to your cluster. So you can debug that here. So let's say if you use, let's say I know that I have a bucket there called travel sample. I can just specify travel sample here, run test connection. And then we will run behind the scenes SK Doctor. And the SK Doctor will debug and check like all the ports, if all the ports are open, if there's some other issue that some protocols like are blocked, all those things. And at the end, it'll say, hey, yeah, there looks like there is a invalid bucket name and password. So once we change to administrator here, test connection, it will run, and then you see that, yeah, everything is good, right? You can connect to Couchbase. Good, but I already have the connection saved here. And once I have that connection, I can just right click and click on connect. And then it will connect to your Couchbase instance. And then once you expand this, you see your buckets. When expand again, you can see the scopes. And then once you expand the scopes, you can see the collections. And once you expand the collections, you can see the documents, right? So here is a document. Once you double click on the document, you can see the whole document. And then if you want to change the document, you can just like change document to 4 here and hit save. Boom, it is saved on Couchbase as well. Another cool thing that we have in the plugin is, okay, let's say I go back here to buckets, documents, and then let's say inventory hotel, right? Let's change the same document here. So we have here caption 4, and we change to caption 5. And then we hit save, right? So now we changed the document, but here we still have the old version, right? So let's try to change that to 6 and save. It notifies that, okay, there is a conflict here because the document that you're trying to save has already been saved in the server. So what it wants to do, and in this case, okay, yeah, just keep my version, right? And you're good. There's a few other things that you can do as well. So I can just right click here and view I can of course delete the document, but I can click here and view the metadata of the document. The metadata in Couchbase is, we have the document, which is the body of the document, and we have a meta space where we store like the ID of the document, the CAS, and a bunch of other flags that we need. So you can also see them here. And one of the nice things is, let's say I want to create a new document, right? So if I come here, create a new document, I can just say, let's say 1, 2, 3. I'm creating a new hotel. Let's say new hotel. Okay. One of the good things, I forgot, I need to show you. When I hit create document, I generate a document from template. And that means that we will pre-fill for you all the attributes. So you don't need to type the whole document from scratch, right? Otherwise, like what happens when you create a new document, especially on Couchbase here, like if I go here and add a new document, you will add a new document with an empty body, right? As we know that you're trying to create a new hotel, we already know what the attributes of hotel are, so we already pre-filled the whole thing here for you. Of course, you can load more documents here and so on. You do some of the basic stuff. But what if you want to understand, okay, how my hotel looks like? You can just expand the schema here, and then we show the patterns that we have found, right? So, for instance, looks like most of the hotels, they have a country. Sometimes they have city. Sometimes the city is new or it doesn't is not present in the document. Sometimes we have price, but sometimes the prices is empty as well because you can see no here. And once you hover it, it shows you some of the values for that attribute, right? So this way, when you're querying, you can get a good idea of the structure of the document as well. Good. What else? We also have the indexes here. So when you, what are the indexes that are using this collection? So you can double click on the index here to see the index definition. And then if you right click on the index, you can see the stats of the index. So you know, okay, how big is this index? How many documents I have in this index and all those other things. Another interesting thing about this listing is that, okay, good that we're showing documents here, but what are the chances that the document that I'm seeing here are the documents that I actually need, right? If I'm developing something, I need to only see the documents here that I care. Because maybe I have, in this case here, I have 900. In some cases, I have like 24,000. Like the chances that what I'm seeing here are the ones that I care are minimal. In our case, what you can do is you can right click here and then you can just on the hotel, you can add document filter. And on document filter, I can say, hey, I only want, you just need to fill this query here, complete this query. In this case, I want to say, hey, I only want documents where country is equals to not UK, but let's say France. And then I can test. Yeah, everything works fine. Apply. And now when I click here, I'm only seeing hotels where country is equals to France, right? And of course, you can keep adding more filters to make sure that you're only seeing things that you are interested in here. But this is just to give you all an overview of what is capable. Of course, you can come here and clear the document filter, right? And then you see the remaining documents, all the documents of the collection. Good. What else? I guess, of course, we can do some other basic stuff here. Let's say I can add a new scope and then call it inventory view, let's say. I can also come here and add a new collection. So I can add a new collection and I can set the TTL for this collection as well. So for instance, okay, I only want this documents inserted on this collection to leave, let's say 5 minutes. So you can specify that here. And then after 5 minutes, those documents will be automatically deleted. Of course, like you can set how long you want them to last. But if you need some sort of short-lived documents, you can do that from the plugin as well. Good. What else? You can also create buckets. So you can come here and create the bucket configuration from here. And we also have here the cluster overview, right? So if you want to check how your cluster looks like, you can get like the overall stats, the nodes, and the buckets. And on our next version, you can also export this as a report. It's pretty useful when you want to, let's say, report something to support, let's say, or you want to you want to ask a question about Couchbase overall. When you can export this whole thing here. It gives us a pretty decent understanding of how your cluster looks like and how it is configured. Good. Another interesting thing is we have on Workbench, right? And I would dare to say that this is the most advanced Workbench for Couchbase. You see here in the bottom we have the output. So the log here is shows everything that's going on with the plugin, right? So here this is when you try to connect to the run cluster. So that's why we have some exceptions. But you can see everything that is going on with the plugin as we are running the work with it. And we also sometimes print the command that we are running. So if by some reason you need to do some automation, right, you can just copy and paste that command in your script, and then you're good to go. Good. But speaking about the Workbench, we have the query history here on the corner, and you can also set your context. So let's say inventory here. And then I can, let's say, just come here and run a simple query, right? So I can just hit play. And I can see the results here. You can see the timings of the query. I can even run again. The timings, the result. You can also see that as a table, right? And you can also see the explain. And the explain is the plan for that query. And once you click on the plan, you can see all the data that we for that step when we're parsing the query. So for instance, you can see that, okay, from the primary scan, we got 187, and then we fetched those 187 documents. And from this 187, we filtered and we got 21 out, and that's what we returned, right? So you can see, you can use those things to compare how well your queries are performing. So usually, the closer you are from the filter here, I mean, if the number of in and outs are very close, usually your query is in a good shape. If let's say you are selecting thousands of documents and then you are just filtering like 2, okay, that might be a sign that your query could be improved, right? And this is one of the things you can see from here. You can also, and the stats as well. Good. What else? You can format your queries, of course. We have here the index advisor, right? So it gives you some explanation, some potential indexes that you can create for this query. We also have the explain, which just show what's going on here. And then what else? We have the favorite, right? So you can click here, you can favorite your query. So let's say friends, filter, and hit OK. And then as soon as I start typing, let's say, and let's say limit 1, it will notice that it's no longer your favorite query. But if you click right here, it will say, hey, yeah, please paste my favorite query here again. And boom, you are back. We have implemented a few things that, I mean, it's a very early thing. I would say that DataGrip does this much better than us, but we try to do some auto completion with queries, right? So if you type select, we have some keywords here. So star from, let's say star from, and airline SA, where a dot, you see all the attributes of that collection. Here is one of the challenges of doing that is because this is dynamic. So if I go back and add a new attribute on the airline collection, it will be automatically updated and appear here. So we on the background we do some inference to understand what is the current state of the collection, and then by the time that you're typing, everything works out of the box. And then of course we have some other shortcuts as well. We pretty much got inspired by some of the things that the DataGrip does. So for instance, if you type, let's say, select airline, automatically fill out all the attributes of the airline. But there is a lot, of course, like it is really interesting, and I highly recommend you guys to pay attention to how DataGrip does that. It's just awesome. One day we will get there. But yeah, and then you can just let's say limit 10, and then you're good. You can just run your query, and we will out-generate that, right? One of the reasons why we have done that is because select star, especially on a distributed database, is really problematic. For our relational, sometimes it's not that bad, but for distributed database, it is almost like a crime. So you should always type the correct attributes, because then that help us to try to use the indexes to filter the documents, and then we just fetch the documents that are needed for that query, right? So that's why it is one thing that we had to push on this plugin, because this is potentially one of the most common performance issues that we see in customers. Good. What else? We can also here on settings, we have a very simple read-only mode. So on this read-only mode, we don't allow you to, let's say, to do anything that would change the database. So let's say if you come here and you cannot create documents anymore, right? So the option is not here anymore, and we hide everything that allows you to modify the database. And of course, you can come here, but this is specifically for Couchbase. I guess DataGrip will have something much cooler than that. And if you come here to settings, okay, I can just disable the read-only mode. We also have the on settings, we can set connection colors. So I can just pick one color here, and then if you will be a connection. Like whenever you connect to this cluster, we will show you this color just to signalize that you are let's say in a production environment, and just make sure that you're not doing something by mistake in a dev environment, right? Good. So we can come here, connection colors, clear connection colors, good. And we also have here the tools. So those Couchbase tools are some of the CLI tools that we ship with the product. So for instance, Pillow Fight is one of the tools that we use for benchmarking Couchbase. So this one is, and of course you don't need to read the whole documentation. The explanation is here already. We also have another called data DDL export, which will export your indexes. Of course, you don't even need to click here. You can just say DDL export here, and then you open the same thing. And here you can say, yeah, travel sample. I want to only export, let's say, the DDL for inventory. also include the indexes and the file, and boom, you are good. So the log shows here where the file was saved. We also have here the tools data export. So data export is CB export. And then you can say, hey, yeah, travel sample. I would say I want to export inventory, and I also want to export tenant 0. And then collections, I want for inventory, I only want hotel, but for tenant 0, I want all collections, right? And then boom, you just hit that, and then you export the whole data from Couchbase. And then, of course, if you want to import the data, we also have data import here. So, and then you can just grab the same file and import data. This is CB import. We automatically run a bunch of things under the hood that try to understand what kind of data set you're trying to import. And then we set a bunch of nice defaults for you. What else? Yeah, I guess, okay, using CB import and CB export is cool, but more often, I would say developers want to just copy the database from one place to another. And for that, we have an even simpler version called simple export. And then both simple export and import, they try to ask just like the minimal number of questions, right? So simple export will just ask you, okay, where you want to export the file, and then boom, it will ask you if you want to also include the definition of the indexes as well. And you can say yes, good, and then you're good here. And if I want to, let's say I just exported the whole scope, inventory scope. Let's say I want to import here this file here. So I can just use simple import now. And then I select the file. And then it will automatically understand that, okay, that file that you exported, I have 5 collections in it. Would like me to also include create the collections for you. And I hit yes. And then you see that all collections were created. And then it will mention, hey, that file that you exported also have some indexes. Would like me to also create those indexes for you? And then you can say yes. And then it will automatically create all those indexes for you. And then at the end, it will import the whole file. So this is something like if you have to do this manually, you spend like 4 or 5 hours. Here you can do that with just a few clicks. Right. Good. And then once we expand here, yeah, you can see that we already have now the collections and everything. Another cool thing that I forgot to mention is if you come here, let's say on inventory, let's create a new collection called Dennis, right? Good. When I expand this collection here, there is no index, so I can't query that data. This is not an error because in Couchbase, you can also use Couchbase just as a key value store. So it might be the case where when you don't have any documents, sorry, when you have a collection that you only want to use a KV to get documents from that collection. So let's say you only want to get data by the ID, and you will delete and update data by using the ID. So you're not querying the collection itself. So you can have a collection like that with no indexes, right? But let's say, okay, here I want to create a document, right? So I can just say test here, and I create a document, and let's say here, let's say 1, 2, 3, whatever, something here, and I hit save. Good. On the index here, when I expand the index, it will say, hey, there's no index found here. If you just double click here, it will automatically create the index for you. And then good. I mean, when I expand here, you can see the document, you can see the schema, right? And you can see that, okay, there's only the primary index that we just created. So one of the nice things of the plugin is it will guide you through those small things. What else? Yeah, of course, we have like refresh buckets, a few other things that I probably will skip because you guys probably understand the basics, right? Another thing that we have here is also a project template. So let's say you want to, you can suggest features and report bugs. So this is a open source project. It is on GitHub. But if you want to, let's say, create a new project using Couchbase, and let's say I want to use Couchbase in Spring Data, so I can just come here, let's say new folder, test project, hit OK, open, and then I select this project, hit OK. It will automatically download one of our official Couchbase examples in Java, and it will open for you here on IDE. So, okay, this is our official Couchbase example. And then you have here all the information on, okay, how the dependencies are, where you can update the connection, and all those other things. So, I mean, if you want to get started with Couchbase or multiple other with Java and multiple other languages, you can just come to, let's say, terminate, come here and say, okay, I want a new example in GoLand or in Node.js or in Flask and all those. We have some examples here, and we are adding a few more in our next release. Good. This is pretty much what I had. So I hope you guys like what we have shown so far. And now I would like to hand it over to Max, that will talk about some of the uber cool features available on DataGrip.
Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Max Walewski, and I'll cover a little bit what database support can do in JetBrains IDEs. Basically, the thing is that we have the IDE called DataGrip, which supports lots of data sources, and the same functionality is available in all our IDEs, which are paid ones. So if you use IntelliJ Community or PyCharm Community, you don't have the database support there, but since you use any kind of proprietary IDE from JetBrains, there is a special module called database support. Let me share my screen. Yeah. And this is DataGrip, but actually this Database Explorer is the tool window which we have in all our IDEs. So it doesn't matter which IDE you use, everything will be just the same. So in that Database Explorer tool window, there's the ability to connect to lots of data sources. We support nearly everything you know about, and Couchbase is one of them. So here I have my Couchbase query data sources. Let's take a look at the connection window. It is more or less clear what you have here. If you go to the options tab, you can define various things for the connection. I want to highlight especially the read-only mode. It will let you not update any kind of data. And if you have your session SSL tunnels, there's also possible. And in schemas, you'll be able to define which particular schemas or namespaces you want to see in your Database Explorer, so that if you have lots of them, you will be able to choose only the needed ones. What else? Here's a Database Explorer window where you have lots of data sources. You can also put your data sources into folders like I did. You can also assign colors. So let's say, let's take our Couchbase query data source. If you go to Toolers, set color, you can put red, for example, which actually will mean that everything related to this particular data source will be highlighted in red color. So if I create the query console to create the Couchbase query data source, that is also will be colored in red color. And of course, you can always rename your data source and put any kind of name there. What else here in Database Explorer? You can see buckets and documents under the buckets. I don't know, maybe Dennis, maybe you can help me. You can help me in that. Should we actually add a new collection layer? Since, as far as I understood, this is something new for Couchbase 7. But this is the structure which we had since we supported it for the first time, and I assume it was the 6th version. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, essentially what happens is when you expand that, it will just show the structure of the default collection. So each bucket has a default scope and default collection. So when you list that, you're still listing documents from the collection, but just from a specific collection.
Okay, yeah, but what we have now, you can see different buckets, and based on what we analyze dynamically, we can see the list of fields you have here. If you want to go to a specific one, you can just start typing, and you will be always navigated to what you're looking for. So there is a quick search, and you can always use this quick search, and it will analyze only the open nodes of this Database Explorer 2 window. So if you want to query your database, you can create a new console. In our case, I go here, new query console, and I can just type select welcome from beer sample, press Command Enter, and the query will run, and now you can see the data in the table format, and we will take a look at it a little bit later. So I don't like the color, so let me put no color here. What we are usually encourage our users to do is to use so-called live templates. So for example, if you want to run a simple select, you can do type just SEL, press tab, choose the needed bucket in our case, or table, or whatever, and press Command Enter, and that's it. So these live templates are just the code snippets from the platform. So if you go to settings and you search for live templates, you can see that here we have lots of templates. And the one I use is SEL, and you can create your own templates for any kind of repetitive queries, or you can update the templates we already have. For example, this is the end variable, which tells me where the cursor should be placed after the template is invoked. I can put it here, just after the table, click OK, and in that case, if I type SEL, I press tab, I choose bucket, the character is here. We have the mechanism called resolve. So every time you use any kind of database objects, we resolve them. And it means that on the hover, you will be able to see the DDL of that particular object, or you will be able to have the possibility to look for the data of that object. Also, there is some kind of navigation based on this resolving. So for example, if you go to the travel sample, you can press Alt-Shift-B, and you'll be navigated directly to the Database Explorer tree, and you will see this particular object. And also you can press F4, which is the go to data action. And if you press F4, you would immediately navigate to the data. Since DataGrip is based on relational database world, we display the data in the table view. We dynamically analyze what is the JSON behind there, and that's why we put some fields here. But if you want to see it in other way, there is also a possibility to go here. You can see it in a tree mode, and if I press the T, there is a tree mode. Oh, let me do something. Now I use all the rows from the data, but you can also define paging. So if I choose 500, we just take only 500 of documents and display only 500, which can help us to work with it a little bit faster. So you can go here, as far as I mentioned, choose the tree mode, and it means that you can see the documents in the tree mode. And also you can, another way to display the data is the text mode. In our case, this text is just JSON because there is the format chosen here. But we'll go back to that format a little bit later. So let's go to the table mode. That's the data I see. There is some kind of things. You can, of course, do some filtering. So you can just type country equals France again. If you press enter, there will be filtering. But also there is a client filtering. So if you don't want to write a new query, you can just type Command F and do some client filters. So if I type Corsica, whatever, you will see just the filtered documents based on what I actually typed. You can just highlight them, or you can just filter them. And if I type more, it will just filter the particular call sign value. So again, this is kind of client filtering, and it helps you a lot if you don't know where to search, and if you don't want to run a new query. So this is the paging. I already mentioned it. This is the refresh. This is the ability to automatically refresh data based on the time frame you chose. This is the new feature called chart. We are just trying to release it, so I will not show you that. And this is the very important feature. I already mentioned it. This is the format you want to display or export your data in. So this format not only affects this text view, it also affects the export. So if you want to export your data in JSON format, you can do this. If you want to export your data in some other formats, there are lots of formats we support, and these formats are scripts, so you can even create your own script. So for example, if you want to have the pretty, it means that you can just select the data you need, I don't know, something like this, you press copy, and what you have in your clipboard is this. So again, you can experiment with these extractors, and if you know Groovy, you can create your own extractors, share this extractor among your colleagues, and export your data in any way you want. So yeah, basically this is about data editing, and maybe one last chapter I want to highlight about our platform. And this chapter will cover also kind of a free features of our platform. So it doesn't depend if you use DataGrip or IntelliJ Community or any other IDs. It's some features which help you not to lose your work. The feature I really like is local history. If you go to here and go show history, you will see all the revisions of this particular file. So every time you type in any file, the content is saved. So you don't need to press Command Save automatically. You can even do some text search here and search for a particular case, for a particular text. If you want to revert this revision, you can press revert, and this will be reverted. Also, every time you copy something, there is a clipboard history. Shift Command V will help you to invoke the clipboard history, so you'll be able to go back in time, and every time you copy something, we actually save it in the file. And what else? You will always be able to see actually the query history for the particular data source. This is the small tiny button on the toolbar. So if you press here, you will actually see which particular queries you were running on this particular data source. And again, of course, the quick search works here. So you will find what you need. And also the one last thing, you can always go to show SQL log and finder. And this SQL log is actually the log which shows you everything which DataGrips run across your database. So if you want to know a little bit more what's going on under the hood, you will always be able to use this feature as well. So that's basically it. If you like these capabilities, if you want to have this when you're working with your Couchbase data source, please install database plugin for WebStorm if you use WebStorm, or you can just use any paid IDs from JetBrains or DataGrip itself to handle your Couchbase data source among all the others if you want. So yeah, that's basically it from my side. Thank you very much. Maybe if somebody have questions, I can answer them.
Yes, thank you, Max.
Hey, just opening things up for questions if we have any. Otherwise, we can wrap things up. And I think we'll wrap it up. So please do check out the docs section. There's a link to the JetBrains marketplace for the Couchbase plugin. Also some information there on Couchbase Capella. So hope you will join us again. Thanks so much, Dennis, as always. And thanks, Max, for being our guest today. I hope everybody has a great week ahead. Take care.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.